Aloha kako guys, welcome to Just&True. You'll see I still have my little digit widget over here. I got a rather deep cut and it just continues to bleed. I may need to get some stitches. I got some really cool instant clotting that even didn't work. So there's a time and a place where you need to get stitches. And which reminds me, I should probably get some sutures for my medical bag. Today I want to talk a little bit about silver and gold, precious metals, precious gems, and just other types of currencies or wealth that people are trying, especially in the prepper community, to stack up. The first thing that I always say when it comes to precious metals and precious gems is you don't want to even touch any of this. Don't touch silver, don't touch gold, don't touch gems unless you already have food, water, medicine, and gear. Okay? Don't think just because you're going to have stacks of silver or stacks of gold that you're going to be set and you can trade your silver and gold for anything you want. That's not going to be the case. So I'm not telling you to go out and buy silver and gold. I'm telling you after you've accumulated enough food, water, medicine, gear, bug out and shelter in place plan, then you want to look at converting some of your currency into wealth. You want to look at trying to look into converting some of your paper money, some of your fiat money for some hard currency, so for some valuables. I'm going to go over a couple of the really quick, I think, mistakes that a lot of people make in buying silver. And also I'm going to go over just some tips as far as helping with the liquidity of it and helping with trading with silver in a SHTF situation. Basically, there's tons of silver out there. There's tons of different ways you can do it, but there's three major groups of silver. You're going to have your gold, or you're going to have, and gold, silver and gold. You're going to have bars, rounds, and coins. Everything else kind of falls into one of those categories, and you can even argue that rounds and bars are almost the same thing, just a different shape. So I'm going to start with rounds. Rounds are my personal favorite type of silver. This is one of my favorite silver rounds right here. This is a 5 ounce of silver. This is by Silvertown. This is a pretty cool, nice little, it's got I really like the Prospector. The Prospector reminds me personally that I'm always searching for the will of God, the Word of God. So that's the Prospector. And on the back, you have the glorious, glorious wagons and an awesome sunset or sunrise in the back. So this is a round. The difference between a round and a coin is minted in a mint, and it's a country's recognized mint. It is minted for currency. It is an accepted currency in that nation and most likely other nations, and it is widely recognizable as a legitimate form of currency. The reason I don't personally buy too much in coins are because of the price. I think that my personal, and this is just my opinion is if I can get ounces of silver for less, if it's not created by a mint, then I'm going to get it. It just means more silver and gold in my stock. And it's all based on your point or your spot. So whatever the spot's at or whatever the price of silver's at, coins will always be above spot, and your rounds will be a little bit cheaper than coins. So I'm a broke dude. I always get rounds instead of coins. So this is a type of round. Again, the difference is a round is heavy and loud. A round is not minted by a recognized mint. It is not minted for currency, but it is just as pure, it is just as silver, it is just as valuable, and they're awesome. Most of silver out there today is actually in rounds. The next one that I collect probably the most of is bars. I like bars themselves just because they're hefty. They're actually easier to transport than coins. You can stack them easier. They don't roll. I've had problems with rolling. And they just seem to be more attractive, in my opinion. Gold bar, silver bar, even copper bars, aluminum bars. You can get in all kinds of precious metals. But for me, I usually stick with silver. I'm too broke for gold, and I have tons of copper anyway, so I don't need any more copper. This is an example of a bar. This is a smaller bar, a very small bar. This is about 4 grams. Not 4 grams, I mean 4 ounces rather. So this is about 4 ounces, a little over 100 grams. This is a Geiger bar. This is a really beautiful bar. I have these I keep because of their size. A lot of people go off of ounces, so there'll be 1 ounce, 5 ounce, 10 ounce, even 100 ounce, and yada yada yada. But these Geigers are done by grams. Most of theirs are done by grams instead of ounces. These smaller bars, which I like. For trading value, 100 grams is easy to break off. 100 grams is just, it's nice. I like the size of it. I like the weight of it. It's pretty cool. 3.5 or 3.75 ounces. 100 grams. Whatever that translates into. It's 28 grams in an ounce, so it's like 3.75 or something like that. Coins, I stack up. My coins that I do keep actually in a secure location. I never have any of my coins on me. My coins are never at this location. I do keep, however, a little bit of my rounds and my bars here. So I would suggest that if you are looking into investing any silver, the very first thing you need to do, or any metal, very first thing you need to do is get your food, get your water, get your shelter, get your gear. If you don't already have, in my opinion, at least a month of food and water. There's people out there that say 2 weeks. There's people out there that say 6 weeks and 8 weeks. Obviously, if you can do more than a month, then that's awesome. But that's the very bare minimum for me, is a month. If you look at Sandy, Harvey, Fukushima disaster, Boxing Day tidal wave, if you look at earthquakes and war zone areas, most of the time things don't get back into an area where you can get back to a situation where you can have food in less than a month. It usually takes a little bit longer, or about a month. So before you even start thinking about precious metals, get precious food, get precious water, get precious medicine, get precious information in books. That's all going to be the very first thing you need, because all this does is get you that when you need it. So why not skip this step? So in my opinion, this is always second to water and food and emergency gear. If you do have all that set, you got all your gear and you got everything done, then start getting some silver, start getting some gold. If you start buying coins that are minted as currency, they are widely recognized. They're much more, they have a higher liquidity rating just because people can recognize it as a coin, they recognize it as a legitimate form of currency. However, it is usually $1 or $2, maybe even $3 more expensive per ounce for silver. And sometimes you're looking at $150 to $250 extra an ounce for gold, which is absurd because gold itself is sitting at, I think, like $3,400 right now, $3,100, whatever it is. So a $250 increase just for it coming out of U.S. Mint, for me, it's just nonsense. When people want, if any poopy hits the fan, and there's someone out there and they have tons of food, and they have tons of ammo, and they have tons of water, but they don't have any silver, if I come there with a 5 ounce piece of silver that is very obviously silver, and they don't have any, then they will trade. It's not going to matter. It won't matter to them if it's from a mint or not. They're just going to want to get their hands on silver. People who have excess of supplies will trade you for silver and gold, so that they have something that's more widely accepted as a currency in that type of situation. So I would really recommend you look into silver and gold. only if you have all of your other ducks in a row, because that is what will keep you alive. After that, coins are good to have because they're minted and they are easily liquefiable, but I recommend rounds and bars instead, because rounds and bars, you're just going to be able to get more for your buck, and that's kind of what we're all about, efficiency, with our everything, with every resource. So I'm not going to give people extra money just because I'm going to support the United States Mint, and not because in hopes that they're going to accept it more readily available. One of the most famous rounds out there, not from a mint, is the same exact design, and I think it's one of the best ones out there, and it's even more people can identify with this than even the silver dollar eagle, is the buffalo head. You guys remember the buffalo head nickels that had the chief on the front, and then the back it had the buffalo? Well, there is a very popular design of a round out there, and the round designs can be picked up by any mint or any company, and they can do whatever they want to a round, right? It's unlimited possibilities. But this round itself has that exact same design on both ends. So that is one I highly recommend, because a lot of times people will see that, and if they're not educated on mint or on rounds or on bars, they'll automatically just assume the value of that. And even if they do know, then they'll still identify it as a legitimate. People for some reason just flock to it because it's on quarters, it's on nickels. It's a very easily recognizable thing. Now, for people who aren't in the United States, I'm not sure I have any viewers that aren't in the United States, but then you want to go and you always want to get your region's coin, something that's easily identifiable for in your region that people can see and understand. Like if I get a Canadian, moose or elk, I forgot what they had, their maple leaf is really cool too, and I try and trade it out. Actually, in Hawaii we have so many Canadians, it'll probably be accepted, but you get my point. If I get another region silver, gold, or coins designs and try and trade it locally, it might not work. That's Jupiter. Hi Jupiter, take your time. No, to show everybody your butt. Don't look at me like that. Always stick with your region's coins. Out here, we have Hawaii coins that are really cool. A lot of people like to collect them. Every nation, every region of those nations usually have some sort of mint or design for them. Mexico has some awesome silver. If you guys want to look at silver, check out South American silver mints, because, dude, they got some cool designs. China, I'm not a really big fan of China's panda dollar. It's a cool design, but it's something that has stayed. Don't you even think about it. You just went up there. What the heck? It's something that has been kind of stagnant. They've kept that design for a long time. There he is again. I'm just going to hold him. So I would recommend you guys getting some silver and getting a dog and not a cat, because these guys are annoying, especially if you don't take their claws off. So go out there and get some silver, get some gold, but only if you have the most valuable assets already up to date and stocked up, which is your food, water, medicine, and any kind of operational security gear that you're going to need. Other than that, the value of in my opinion, coined mint is not worth the amount of money they're going to ask you for above spot. So I would go with your rounds and your bars, just because you'll be able to acquire more of it, and it is the same silver. It's going to be 999 silver. It's not going to have anything added to it. It's the same purity. You can get things that are just easily identifiable, and you won't have trouble trading it. Alright, well, that's it for today. Aloha kako, mahalo nui loa. Thank you for stopping in. Hui ho until we see you again. And I think I'll probably be on tonight, and I'm going to make a women and children's video for hygiene, nutrition, and just overall psychological principles for a family to stick with. And if you have children and women especially, there are things that are the less prestigious sides of prepping that a lot of people don't talk about, that you guys are commenting, that just blow me away. The lady who commented about babies, about we need to know what to do with babies, and then they put this image in my head of starving babies, not a good thing to see. Talk about, wow, man, that hit me hard. what out there can demoralize you and demoralize people around you besides seeing a starving baby? I mean, that is horrible. So we're gonna focus on that, and then also women's hygiene. All throughout history, there's been different ways that women have dealt with their specific hygienic needs. And in a time of poopy hitting the fan, we're not going to have basic medical supplies. We might not have all these hygienic materials that you're used to. Unfortunately, I've been doing, call me ignorant, this is the first time I've actually sat down and done research into women's hygiene. I probably spent about 3 or 4 hours this morning going over the history of women's hygiene and going over the progression or lack thereof in technology for women's hygiene. Blows me away that there hasn't been a shred of new technology in women's hygiene for 60 years or 70 years or something like that. I think it's more. I think it's about 70 years, which blows me away because half the population are women, and it seems like any problem I have as a man, there's a million different things to run to. So there are some really cool indigenous ways and classic ways and Christian ways and pioneer ways to handle this hygienic subject. I obviously am not a woman, so I can't speak from experience. But what I'm doing is I'm putting a bunch of research together, and then I'm actually going to have my sister, my girlfriend, and my niece, who's 15, 16 years old. We're all preppers. Come on and actually share with you their experiences as prepping and what they want to do as women and what they suggest to do as women during these preppers, because they're both women and prepper. I'm a prepper, but I can only research. There's not a lot you can do. Life experience is always the best. So I'll get someone who's a little bit more knowledgeable in that aspect for you guys. But anyway, thanks for stopping in again, and I'll see you guys tonight. Mahalo.